What's going on, Doombots? Today we're gonna talk about Bullseye. We're gonna put a spotlight on Bullseye. We're gonna target Bullseye? All these puns are stupid. Anyway, for those who are only familiar with the character of Bullseye from the Daredevil show on Netflix, yeah, that's pretty much it. Not exactly origin stuff, but the origin of Bullseye is actually kind of boring. He really doesn't have a name. In Netflix, he was called Benjamin Poindexter. He's generally referred to as a character named Lester, maybe Lester Jangles. He goes by a whole bunch of different pseudonyms. He doesn't really have much of a backstory. He's kind of like the Joker without any of the whimsy or fun or entertaining parts of it. But what is kind of cool historically about Bullseye is, one, he is primarily a Daredevil villain, but more of a New York City bad guy, the kind of guy that you'd see like the Heroes for Hire, Spider-Man, Punisher kind of deal with. He also had some couple of run-ins with the Avengers themselves. At some point, he replaced Hawkeye on the Dark Avengers / Thunderbolts teams. He's just kind of all over the place. He first made an appearance in Daredevil 131, link obviously in the description below, as Dude Who Doesn't Miss. And his costume has basically been the same. Keep in mind, remember back in the old days, everyone wore spandex. Like every superhero costume, supervillain costume was just some form of spandex or armor. Now they're a bit more modernized. They have like weapons and stuff. He has, I guess, shot bullets on his arms. I don't know, whatever he does in this game. But basically it's the same. The one thing that you always find is the bullseye on his head, whether it be the horrible Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck or just some costume part of the character. It's just kind of his telltale sign. As far as backstory, that's pretty much everything, but we can talk about his powers and abilities, which he has none, technically. So he is just super duper accurate. He's like Hawkeye. He doesn't have anything particularly that makes him good. He's just is. He's maybe like Cyclops has the trigonometry thing down where he knows how to ricochet stuff. Weird, but is real. He's just a really master marksman. He's good in physical combat, hand-to-hand combat. He's basically an assassin anyway, so take all the things you think an assassin can do, and then make sure that he just doesn't actually miss, and you have Bullseye. He can also use almost anything as a weapon, whether a thrown projectile or hand-to-hand combat. So he's really good at just fighting on his toes, making him incredibly dangerous. He does have one technical superpower, and my voice went up on that just to kind of make you feel like it's not really a superpower. At some point, his spine and like some of his head was infused with adamantium. Yes, the exact same surgery that Wolverine had, but not as detailed. And for some reason, even though he doesn't have a healing process, it worked on him. And he doesn't get heavy metal poisoning. It's a comic book, we accept it. But he's pretty much indestructible in certain parts. He can't ever break his back. He can't crack his skull. I think his arms and his forearms are adamantium or laced or something. So he can punch and block stuff. Sure, I guess. You know, like, you could still rip his leg off. It's a weird thing to be, like, almost indestructible. Like, I'm very indestructible, but only if you shoot exactly at my eyes. It's just a weird thing. So that's pretty much Bullseye in a nutshell. I have all the information in the comments below, or description below, but comment below if I missed something about Bullseye. Honestly, I'd be really shocked if anybody knows enough about Bullseye, so please tell me anything. Because that's as much as I could find out in my research. So now we're going to talk about Bullseye in the game. The good news is he's in the game, and he's easy to get, and he has some value. The bad news is that's it. Or the more good news. So he's a villain city skill blaster mercenary. Villain, who cares? I think he's like a 15 shard unlock, so he's one of the earlier unlock characters in the game. You can end up using him in the early campaign as you play. City character, that fundamentally means nothing, as anything that does require city characters require characters a little bit better than Bullseye. Skill, Again, kind of the same conversation, except earlier on, there's a couple of points where skill can be relevant, where you could get away with using Bullseye, just not so much in endgame. Blaster Tag, gonna be useful once you start doing the challenges that require Blaster, but not as good as any of the good blasters. He's actually probably one of the worst non-minion blasters in the game. And then he has the tag that kind of makes it all okay, and that's Mercenary. Now, if you've seen the Killmonger Spotlight, you'll know that like the Mercenary tag is a pretty reasonable tag because there's a lot of things you can do with it. There's the monthly Mercenary event for gold. He's an option for that event. Is he good for it? He's good if you have him. I wouldn't go out of my way for him, but he's an option. As a war defense character on the Mercenary team, he's very good, surprisingly. If you're not using some kind of hybrid comp, he makes that team work very well. We'll look at his kit and we'll get a big understanding of that later. And then for like some of the raids, you might end up having to use him, especially in like Gamma, until you get like whatever the other options for mercenaries, or you know, the heroes for hire, defenders, whatever other options are on the team. So he has uses, which makes him useful, but I wouldn't recommend it. That could change any time. He used to be way worse than he is now. He used to have almost no uses, just that one, you know, that one event that came by once in a while for gold. Now that it's so frequent, his value went up. Now that he has a team, his value went up. He's kind of like Korath in that way, where like, yeah, he's not bad, but he's not great either. And then just to talk about ISOs, I want you to understand that when I show that he has Striker, this is not because it's the best thing on him. The best ISO on Bullseye is no ISOs. That said, Striker and Skirmisher are both very good options on him on the Mercenary team for war defense, but you really don't want to go out of your way on this. Raider, not great. He does have a couple of opportunities to hit multiple times, not enough, although he does have a pretty decent crit rate to begin with, so you can take advantage of it to have him do more damage. Fortifier and Hero are laughable and completely unnecessary on the character. As you can see, there's no reason to work on him. So, as far as ISOs are concerned, I really want to like lead you towards, well, Striker's okay. A Skirmisher is a little bit worse, but still okay, especially in the confines of his team. Everything else, it's not that important. I'd rather you put nothing on him or just a one, you know, one of everything, lock him to one, so you don't have to feel like you wasted anything, then put any meaningful gear. Now, this can change in the future. We'll deal with that in the future. We're talking about it now. Looking at his kit, gain 10% accuracy. All allies gain 5% accuracy. Crit damage on war defense, assist mercenary allies on non-attack abilities. This is one of the reasons why that Skirmisher we were just mentioning comes up, because he will assist random stuff and cause them to actually do something else. If they have Striker, whatever. It's possible, but like just making him do more damage ends up being better. And then you can tier 4 to give a little bit more accuracy to his allies, but not to him. His accuracy is actually higher than 100%. He can hit when blinded. If you aren't aware, blind reduces your accuracy by 100. So that's why Daredevil and Cyclops can't miss. Their accuracy is 200. And it kind of goes against base dodge chance, not like evades or anything. But suffice to say, there's really no value in this tier 4 unless you really, really want to build your mercenaries team because it's 6 months ago. No, 11 months ago, and that was a thing that made sense for people to do. Kill Shot is a single target attack, primary target for 500 up to 550, gain 30% crit chance, 20% crit damage. This is where we were talking about Raider before, but it starts with 0 energy. On his team, he can get energy very easily from Merc Lieutenant. No, I don't even... I'm running out of energy to make it feel like you should work on him. I'm trying, guys. I really am. Attack primary target for 200 damage, 20 crit chance, 80% chance to gain a bonus attack. That goes up to nothing, stays at 80% for some more damage sometimes. Again, yeah. And throwing knife, attack primary target. This attack cannot miss, though it can be dodged, which is the exact opposite of cannot miss. Nah, not really. I get it. gain 15% crit chance for this attack, goes up a little bit. The truth is, and one of the rewarding things about Bullseye is he's one of the few characters in the game you really don't actually have to do anything with. You could just use him or not. And so few times do we have that option in Marvel Strike Force to be like, wait, you mean I just don't have to work on this character? That it's great. So as far as a character goes, he's useful enough that he's not like a monstrosity or Kingpin. But that said, he's nowhere near the best option in any category other than villains named Bullseye. You know, it's just not there. So, like, he's a C character. Avoid working on him if you can. No amount of red stars is going to turn him into a hero. That said, I can say from experience, I've fought some really strong mercenary teams with a really strong Bullseye. So if you are kind of on that, I like my characters with big, strong Yu-Gi-Oh numbers, you're going to get a little bit more value out of Bullseye than anybody else, but the juice is so not worth the squeeze. Use him where you can. There are way better mercenaries. There are way better blasters. There's infinitely better skill characters as of the time of this video. And that doesn't seem like it's going to change anytime soon because with the exception of a Thunderbolts team, I really don't see him as a character doing anything as far as the future goes, especially with all the new characters coming out. Even for skill characters, the Secret Avengers. That's pretty much everything I can say about Bullseye. I am trying to make these videos a little bit more dense in information, and unfortunately, the first research I did was on this character, and that's bad. So I'm sorry I couldn't make this one a little bit longer, give you a little bit more information other than what I'm putting in the description. Hopefully it helps. Just as a reminder, if you want to see more deep dives into characters, I do read the comments in this section. So just let me know if you want to know more about a specific character. I can always do a redux or a repeat or just do something else on that. So just let me know there. Have a good night. Have a great day. I've been Tony Scungili. And guys, I'll catch you later.